Hi, everybody. This is the MAONO PD300X. It's an interesting microphone. You're hearing it right now. Let's just go right into what you're looking at. Talk about this first, and then I'll talk about the software, because this is kind of what's special about it. You get it, and you click on it, and it goes in, and you've got this software where you can go in and change things on the microphone. And you can change this with some of the dials that are right on the microphone as well. But first, we're going to go through and just talk about the microphone for just a second. I use OEM keys for a few different reasons. This is the price you're going to pay for Windows 11 Pro. If you get a retail key, let's check those prices on whokeys.com. $30. No, we can do better. Put in TS25, click apply. There we go, $23.22. Let's say you want to get a copy of Windows 10 Pro. Also have Windows 10 Pro, and right now that key still unlocks Windows 11. You can get Windows 10 Home, Windows 11 Home, and we have two flavors of Office. If you're sick of paying that monthly subscription, well, you can get yourself an offline version of Office 2019 or Office 2016. The other thing is OEM keys are generally locked to your hardware, so if you move it from one motherboard to another, you may need to get another key, but you'll have to get many keys to equal the price of one retail key. Let's go ahead and check out with our copy of Windows 11 Pro. All right, just put in my card info. There we go. Click on View Keys and Codes. Once you get to the User Center, click on Get the Key. You'll see your key right here in the middle. Go ahead and highlight that, copy that, press Start, and then type Activate. You'll see Activation Settings. Go ahead and click on that. And then right here it says Not Active. Just click on Change Product Key. Paste in our product key, and then click on Activate. Hey, look at that, active. Head over to whokeys.com. Thanks to them for sponsoring. And now on to our regularly scheduled program. Now, I'm not going to make a super in-depth video because I want you to hear it. That's the most important thing. Is like, we could talk about specs and numbers all day long, but the most important thing is what you're hearing right now, you know? Let's put it over here so I can be a little more right in front of my mouth. This has a shock mount, by the way. It's actually a really nice rubber shock mount. Look of the mic, I think, has a pretty good aesthetic as well, but that's just my opinion. We have a knob right in the middle. If you press the knob, it goes through different modes, and I'll cover that in a second. And we've got our mute button right there. If you hold it down, it does something different. Then we have our pop filter for the you know, all that stuff. Get rid of all those sound effects. And then it comes with a mount that mounts on pretty much every mic mount. And then in the box, it's got like an adapter for other mounts so you can adjust the screw size or whatever. Looking at the back of the unit right there, we've got USB-C, which I'm using right now. And then we also have an XLR plug. XLR is good if you're going to be using an external soundboard or audio device. This, I think, mainly is going to be used over USB-C, and they've kind of created their own internal thing with the software like I was showing you a second ago. All right, so let's talk about the specifications. The sample rate is 192 kilohertz at 24-bit, so that's a pretty good sample rate over here. Let's make sure we're on that right now, as a matter of fact. There we go. So, yep, there we go. Works just fine. It shows up as a PD300X and also an AI microphone right there. So it's a cardioid polar pattern, which is kind of a cone right here in the front. And the microphone, it's a dynamic mic, and it's right there. It's not in the front or anything like that. It's right there. So I think that's an interesting placement. Looks kind of like a shotgun mic or whatever. The max SPL is less than 130 decibels. Frequency response is 40 hertz to 16 kilohertz. And then it works with pretty much everything. Smartphones, Mac iOS, computers, whatever. You can use it with all kinds of different things. The software, however, that I'm using is on Windows. I believe it's also on Mac, but yeah. They claim in their marketing we've got 5 layers of noise reduction, and one is the shock mount right there. That'll help with noise if you're banging on your desk or something. You're not really going to pick that up much if it's on a boom arm and, you know, mounted on a shock mount. But if it's on your desk and it doesn't have a shock mount, every time you bump into something or smack your keyboard or move your mouse, it's going to be like boom, boom. And so it's going to be really loud. That gets rid of all that. Then we've got some built-in noise rejection here. We've got our pop filter, which is another level. There's EMI shielding back here. And then, of course, the shock mount. So lots of different layers there. And then inside the software, we can also crank up a noise gate right here. And if you've used any software in the past, you know what a noise gate is. I don't like to turn these up too much because then it has almost like it's like a jolt between speaking and not speaking. So I don't turn that up too awful much. Right here, let's just go through all the stuff we've got here. We've got gain, and we can control this on the actual physical unit itself, or we can control it here, just giving it gain. Now, note that gain will also increase noise. So I like to go with as low gain as possible, but still, you know, you need to be able to hear things. So I'm doing pretty low gain right now, and I'm going to have to boost this a little bit in post. But in post, I'll probably, you know, be able to boost it maybe better than I can here with gain. So we'll see how that goes, I guess. But yeah, you can go in and bring up the gain right over here. And I've got it on just a little bit right there. This is our headphone volume because we do have a headphone jack on the bottom, and you can monitor. Now, what's interesting is we have monitor mixer between our mic and our PC right here. And this is what's going to show up in your headphones while you're monitoring. So if you turn it all the way over here, you're only going to hear your PC. And if you turn it all the way over here, you're only going to hear your mic. And that's a good way to be able to like hear yourself. And if you put it right here, it's going to sound kind of like what people who are watching you stream are going to be hearing. So right in the middle, you'll be able to hear both equally. But I'm only going to be monitoring my mic right now, so I'll put it over here. All right, there's that. And up here on top, we have our scene settings as well. So let's take a look at those. Now, these are EQ. They're basically frequency response graphs that we can change. Right now, I'm just doing the original flat, but let's just go over and take a look at a few things. We got our low cut, which just cuts out the low frequencies. Mid boost, and that's going to give you a little bit of crispness. You know what? I can come hang out with y'all. How about that? There, that's nice. That mid boost gives you a little bit of crispness right where natural human voices are. I'm talking voices of all genders are usually around the mid range because the mid range has a big range. The high range is really high. It's like higher than, it's like wasps buzzing around. Like, I've seen some people in anime that talk that high, but yeah. And then we have our low cut plus our mid boost right there. So you can toggle all of those. And then we've got different settings. Like this is podcasting. Look at that. They've gone through and tuned it specifically for podcasting. Also, I've got a compressor running with a limiter as well down here. A compressor gives you that boomy voice. It, well, you know, there's a little question mark right here. It can explain it a lot better than I can, more succinctly. There you go. The compressor can compress the dynamic range of the audio signal, making the audio signal more stable and consistent to give you that stable and consistent radio voice. This Sunday, Gravedigger fights your mother. Come on down, everybody. All right, that's enough of my radio voice. So, and then you got your limiter here, which says, even if you yell and scream, limit it to this decibel. That's it. So I'm going to turn it up all the way. Yeah, turn that. Give me that limiter all the way up there, fellas. I don't know. I like to keep it like -8, 10, somewhere in that range. Okay, recording. This is what it's like when you put it in the recording setting. Yes, how you doing? Do I have anything to read? I'll read the back of this box right here. It's from Out of This World, a 1992, I believe, video game. Why am I talking like this? You'll think you're actually on a movie set when you star in the cinematic action adventure Out of This World. All right, it's enough. So that's the recording setting, and then I'll do gaming. This is gaming. It really cuts out a lot of the low stuff, gives a little bit of a boost in the mids for voice. But if you're playing games, a lot of that stuff you'll have a lot of low-end information anyway, with grenades and bombs and gunshots and with people walking on the ground. A lot of that's mid-range too, but like engines, stuff moving around. There's a lot of low range. There's a lot of row range in games. All right, let's try out gaming and see how this works out, you know? Just playing a game here, hanging out. You can hear the game in the background, obviously. I don't know.
Messy. Just the way I like it.
Oh, it's too loud. I can't handle it. So you're going to have to listen without. I need to balance it, but
Would you look at that? She's
So-
actually human.
All right, so yeah, this is how it's going to be while you're playing a game or whatever. Let's go
Nah,
outside.
I have nowhere I need to go right now.
Oh, you're going to make me click on things
My
in the room,
electric
huh?
guitar. Got it cheap from a lesbian I met at a concert. Helped me get rid of my last 2 roommates.
Amazing. All right, so anyway, this is, gaming while you're doing this. I'm going to turn off everything. Go back to flat original. You can also make your own curve if you come in here and click on this. It's actually quite nice. Look at all this. You can make your own curve. To be fair, you can do a lot of this stuff inside OBS. This is much, much easier than using a lot of the third-party tools. I like the fact that this is all together in one nice package, but you can do this on your own. You can add plugins, and you can add VSTs to Open Broadcaster. You can do all this stuff. This is a easier way to do it, and maybe a cleaner way to do it. It's made specifically for this microphone, so that's kind of a bonus. But it's not like you can't do these things with other microphones. You can put compressors on them. You can put limiters on them. You can do all that stuff in Open Broadcaster. If that's the only reason you're buying it, and you've got like $500, you might be better off getting a more expensive mic and doing something externally, or using the XLR with an interface. So, in my opinion, I think it's a pretty good deal for the sound quality you get, and just how it's set up. The shock mount is also really nice. The mount is nice. The plugs are nice. So there's a lot of nice things going for it, but I'm just going to stop talking and leave it alone now and let you make your decision. I've said everything I wanted to say about this, I believe. See if there's any other stuff on their website that I forgot to mention. All right, for everybody watching right now, these mice, they're going to be half price. So yeah, you get them for like $20. You're not going to find a better mouse for $20. Flawless sensor. This white one, don't have too many of these left, and I'm keeping a bunch because I love the way they feel and look and all that. Anyway, $20. The coupon code is Happy Mouse when you're checking out. It'll show up after you put in the coupon at checkout. So head on over to Epic Pants and grab one of those. I'll see you in the comments.